Do you have an ugly retro ceiling fan hanging above your dining room table?
Dying to replace it, but afraid of electrical work? Well, do not fear.
L&D are here! We've all been there. You put so much time and effort into making the room perfect, but there's that one thing. We have hated this ceiling fan since we moved in, but we couldn't afford to replace it with the chandelier we loved until I was thrifting with my mom and found this gem for only $80. It was time to do it. If you're going to be brave and tackle any electric work, make sure that you turn off the electricity to that room from the breaker. Another tip is to also make sure that you swip the light switch in the off position. Now it was time for us to get started now that all the safety things were out of the way. And I will tell you, this part took forever trying to figure out what pieces to take off first, what screwdrivers to use, and all of that. So I'm just going to sit back and let you enjoy all of this process, and I will check back in with you in a bit. It's a great idea to have someone there to help you with the process because it is a process. I don't know how much help I really was in this process. I wasn't sure what to do other than checking my hair to make sure that it looked okay. But I did kind of stand there and do anything that he needed me to do, hand him anything that he needed me to hand him. And I know he was thinking, is she even helping? And yes, I was. I was monitoring and just being support, really. But this took forever, and I wasn't very helpful also because I'm very short and my arms are very short. But I did do my best to be helpful. So it's always good to have a second person there just in case you need them. The moment of truth, we finally had this ugly ceiling fan off of the ceiling. Now it was time to work on the new, to us, light fixture. We needed to make it a little bit shorter, so we had to pretty much take it apart from the top. We had to unscrew that top plate, pull the wires through, and then you'll see in a second that we had to bust out a wrench to get that top plate off. We wanted it to be shorter, and you're going to see in a second, it's supposed to be 30 to 36 inches above your dining room table, and this was way too long for our space. So we needed to take out one of those bars on both sides to make it the perfect height that we needed. This did take some work, but it was much quicker than taking the ceiling fan down, I will say. So here is the diagram that shows us kind of what we need to be doing, and that's what we're working on right now. After we got that top plate off, then we could unscrew some of those bars. We needed to take out one of the longer ones, but we did have to take out those shorter pieces first. And this was a little bit tricky because we had to pull all the wires through that one side, and they were getting a little bit tangled, but we did manage to figure it out. Now that we have that piece out that we need, he's just feeding the wire through that shorter piece because we needed that piece to be on there. That way we can attach it back to that top plate. This was a little bit easier because he had already untangled the wires, and now it was time to go back to the ceiling. That steel piece that you see needs to go on the ceiling, and all of those wires go through it. So this is just the point where he is measuring exactly where it needs to go, making sure that it was level and in the perfect spot. So he's screwing it in, and then we kind of took a step back and looked to make sure that it was going to be centered perfectly above that dining room table so that we could mark everything. And he's just using a screwdriver to mark because he's going to need to go in those holes anyway. This was a little bit tricky to figure out, but it actually wasn't too bad. And again, it was much easier than taking that ceiling fan down. But I know his arms were definitely hurting after this process. It was a lot of over the head work, but it's all worth it in the end. Stick around for the reveal because it completely transforms this space, I promise. Now it's time for some more electrical work. He needed to strip the wires a little bit so that he could connect them to the wires in the ceiling. This rib side is the negative wire, and that smooth one is going to be the positive one. That way he knows exactly which wire to hook it up to when he connects it to the wires that are already hanging out. So he's just stripping it a little bit. That way we get a very good connection and nothing goes awry and the lights turn on. So that's just the process that he is doing right now. He's just giving those wires a good twist so they connect with the other wires really easily. He said this really helps. And then we are about to jump back up to the ceiling here in a minute to get these wires connected. We were so excited to finally get this light fixture up. As the process kept going on, it was just getting, the anticipation was just building. So here we are kind of centering it exactly where it needs to be. We moved our dining room table back over so that we could get it in just the right spot. Now we are back up to the ceiling and he is just working on those wires in there. He wants to make sure everything is just perfect, and he did look up some electrical stuff, and we also know someone who does some electrical, so he got lots of tips for this. He's just screwing, I believe this is the ground wire, into the top and getting that all ready to go. To connect those wires, he's just twisting them together, and then he's using a cap so that things are nice and safe and there are no exposed wires in the top. You want to make sure there are no exposed wires because that is not safe. We've run into some of those issues in this home that we bought where the previous owner or the flipper had some exposed wires going on, and it caused some issues for us. So he's just making sure he does this to the book so we don't have any issues later. He did say that you want to get that cap on there really good so there are no problems once you put everything into the ceiling. So here he is just trying to shove those wires back up there. This was a process for sure to get all of those wires hidden back in there. And we're almost there, guys. It is almost time for us to put this thing on the ceiling. You can see my big old poofy hair here, and that's because I was trying to hold up the light fixture so that he could get it screwed in. He could not screw the plate in and hold the light fixture at the same time. So I was just giving him a hand here so that he could get everything all tucked in and everything on the ceiling so that we were ready to flip these lights on and enjoy our new dining room. It was finally time for the light bulbs. This fixture takes a candelabra style light bulb. We just picked these up from Menards, and then we're just going to put those glass things back on the top, and we are almost to the reveal. The anticipation right now of just watching this over again is just killing me. The same as it was when we put this fixture up. And here we have the final result of this light fixture in our dining room. Such a steal for $80. Completely transformed the space. We love it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure you check out the video and the playlist on the screen and smash that subscribe button so you can become part of our YouTube family.